Good evening, guys, and welcome back to the classroom with Architect Mark. Tonight, we're going to talk about the second part of the beginning of the second part of architectural communication, which is moving into the realm of 3D within still AutoCAD because that does exist. So, head on over to the classroom and then start our timer here. We'll check it out. Alright, so timer begins now. When AutoCAD starts, what we're basically looking at is from the top facing down. So you're like a bird in the sky looking at a floor plan or a sheet of paper, an infinite sheet of paper. So at any one time, there's always a third plane of dimension that's available to us, and it's denoted by Z, which is pointing up towards us. So when you're looking at the sheet, we have an X and a Y that takes care of all the values on the lateral and on the vertical. And then Z is the depth, and that's always available to us. So we're gonna create a cube because that's very understandable and controllable shape. And how we do that is let's create a 500 by 500 rectangle. And we're gonna extrude this by 500 as well. So while it looks like nothing happened, now you already have a cube that is measured 500 in height also. So the quickest way to check this is via this wheel right here. So there we have it. We're now looking at the side of the document. So earlier we were looking at the top. Now we're looking at the object from the side. So that allows us to see a wireframe version of our cube that we created earlier. So you can identify with it through the grid that we can see here. So that helps us see, but otherwise, yeah, we're basically looking at this box that doesn't really have a solid exterior shell. So when you hold a 3D object, and let's try to check out the properties of it. So you can see here that we are actually holding a 3D solid. So when we create something in CAD using the extrusion command, it means that both the top and the bottom faces are automatically generated. Sorry about that. What else do we have? So in this space, we can do all the similar commands with a few exceptions, of course. Like for example, we can copy it and use a orthographic lock. So okay, we get two of them. Copy to the other side along red. So we did say we were gonna copy it. And then let's try and copy it through Z. And still works. So right now we have a stack of three items that are hitting the zero plane. Then a little bit of allowance to let our fourth box go up and occupy a space above that original setup. So what you can do to check it is to go through the view cube and understand the drawing a little bit better. So this is one of the easiest ways to actually identify. Okay, wait, what is this? Why are we seeing that? Oh, okay. So as you can see here, it becomes a little bit tricky to the eyes. If it were aligned completely, you would not be able to see the third cube over there, or the first cube. And yeah, so that's the basic functionality of 3D in AutoCAD. Of course, that is not the end that we are looking to end up with when using 3D in CAD. What the advantage of using this is the precision, basically. You can be really precise and be really fast when you do 3D in AutoCAD. But of course, the advantage of a in simplicity that they input into SketchUp is something very uh, hard to get over, I would say, because it's quite something else. But that doesn't mean you can't do things like this within AutoCAD itself. The controls for the 3D environment in CAD is not as robust, but very competitive also. You can do a lot of things within here. And we will go through some of the operations within 3D CAD in our next meeting. So right now, this is basically just an introduction to the workings of a file in CAD that has that moves on to a 3D space. If you remember what I'm showing you earlier with the view cube, one of the differences that can maybe convince you to use CAD instead of another program, for example, when you're trying to do 3D, is you can use multiple viewports here, unlike in SketchUp. What that looks like is this. So with the viewports command, we can identify if we want to be looking at 3 or 4 sides at once. And so this is what it looks like. So for example, here we want to be looking at the top and then rotate that so that north is up. Here we want to be seeing this part one more. And then we can see here, let's change it to front. Here, let's change it to side view. So here we're looking from the left, and here we're looking from the front. That's a little bit tricky. Is that looking for? Oh yeah, that's true. And let's differentiate it by creating another one here. Like, let's create a circle. Let's extrude this circle by 300. So the viewports command allows us to view the space all the time from multiple angles. And some people like this, some people don't. But it's one of the main advantages of working with a software that is not just focused on developing 3D models. You can look at the scene from multiple angles at any one time. All right. So that's a brief introduction into 3D in AutoCAD, and we will look at it more in depth next time. Later.